Train Your AI Brain, customizing AI for planning and productivity, facilitated by Lidia Fumo. We acknowledge first and foremost that we are gathered in the province of Ontario on the traditional territories of various Indigenous peoples who have been present on this land known as Turtle Island since time immemorial. We acknowledge that this has been a meeting ground for generations. We are grateful to the stewards and caretakers of this land. As advocates, teachers, and educators, we understand our collective responsibility to honor, protect, and sustain this land. We further recognize and honor within the membership of OTF those who are Indigenous to this land. This practice of recognizing the ancestral and traditional lands in which we work, live, and play is a concrete action that we undertake as a first step towards reconciliation between Canadians and the Indigenous peoples of this land. But it is not our only step. Collectively and individually, we must seek to denounce the injustices and the wrongs that have been committed against the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and to dedicate ourselves to cultivating and maintaining relationships based on mutual respect and truth. Your presenter for this session is Lidia Fumo. Lidia is an elementary teacher librarian passionate about inquiry-based learning, technology, AI, and STEAM. She brings a tech-savvy, curiosity-driven approach to teaching, using AI tools, coding platforms, and digital media to spark student engagement. Her classroom is child-centered, where creativity is celebrated and learning feels more like an exploration than instruction. She empowers students to connect their learning to real-world issues through the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, turning inquiry into action that matters. Please welcome Lidia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lidia. I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see everything I got going on. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody can see my screen. Thumbs up. Okay, amazing. I'm going to share the link to my slides at the end of the presentation. I also will be posting them on my website for you to access. So you don't need to take screenshots or anything. If you want to, you can. But everything that is in my slides, I will share with you. So welcome. My name is Lidia. Thank you for coming to this session. As Kalpana had mentioned, I try to have a very open concept when I am doing any types of presentations. So if you at any time you have a question, please feel free to ask. You can raise your hand and unmute yourself and ask it, or you can ask it in the chat, and I will address it as soon as it comes up. So please do not hesitate to ask questions throughout. So welcome to Train Your AI Brain. Today we're going to be talking about different AI tools that you can use as a teacher to help you with various things like planning and creating of content that you are going to be using with students. And we're going to go over a basic overview of different things to consider when you are using AI as an educator. I will also be doing another AI presentation on March 5th. And that one is going to be focused more so on AI tools that you can use with students. So if you're interested in seeing how I use AI with students, definitely sign up for that for the March 5th. Okay, so to begin, again, hello, my name is Lidia Fumo, and I am a teacher at the Peel District School Board. I'm a teacher librarian, and I have been in the teacher librarian role for about 7 years now. You can email me if you have any questions at lidiafumo@peelsb.com or at lydia@theartofinquiry.ca. You can find me online at The Art of Inquiry on Instagram if you are an Instagram user, where I post a look into the classroom and all the things that I do with students on a daily basis. Or you can also check my website, theartofinquiry.ca, where I post other information about inquiry-based learning, AI, and different tech and STEAM tools. I will be posting the slides on my website as well. So if you miss it, it will also be on my website. Okay, so before we begin, I always like to start my sessions with some norms of collaboration. And I just ask that everybody is open-minded to all of the things that we are going to be talking about today, and be open to questioning and receiving feedback, and definitely question anything that you have concerns or comments about. I always say play nice. So we can ask questions, but we do it in a nice and respectful way. And then finally, we have good vibes. This is something I have in the library. It's a good vibe zone. And we just try to always have positive outlooks on the learning that we're doing together today. So this is just a brief overview of today's session. There is a lot, so if I do skip over anything, do not worry. Everything will be in my slides. You can always explore on your own at a later date, but I'm going to try to get through as much as possible today. My goal as a teacher librarian and as an educator is always to share and connect learning and inquiry-based learning, AI, and STEAM together to provide all of you with different tools and activities that you can use in your practice every single day for yourself or with students. And then finally, it's to connect and collaborate. One of the biggest things that I always say to people is I would love to collaborate and connect with you. So after this session, you have my contact information. Please reach out. You are always welcome to come and visit my school and to see the space and how everything runs if you are close enough or you're willing to come. My space is always open door policy for anybody who wants to see what's going on with students anytime throughout the year. So if you want to access the slides, this is a QR code to my website and a QR code to my social media website. So my social media on Instagram. So again, I will post all of this stuff online. So a basic description, what we're going to be going over today, we're going to be talking about different AI tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini that match your teaching style. We're going to talk about workflow, making curriculum connections, and then using AI more as a thought partner or a sidekick, as opposed to just a productivity tool. So it's to make your thinking better as opposed to thinking for you. So we're going to go over briefly, because I know that everybody in here probably already knows what artificial intelligence is, but artificial intelligence is when computers are programmed and they analyze information, they recognize patterns, and then they make decisions. This is super important for us as educators to know, because if we are going to be using AI in the classroom for ourselves or for students, we need to know where this information is coming from. So AI does not think like humans. It is only trained on what humans input into the AI. So just a show of hands, I don't know how we're going to do this, but who is actively using AI in their daily planning currently? Amazing. I see lots of hands, lots of hands. Perfect, perfect. Got 12 plus. Amazing. So many people. Okay, perfect. So with AI in the classroom, I know that we're going to be talking about specifically how educators can be using AI, but I want to start all of this off by saying, if the first step for you is using AI as a tool for yourself, but you're thinking about moving into using AI with students, we do need to make sure that we explore permissions for students and also permissions for ourselves. So I work for the Peel District School Board, and I know that everybody in here could be from all over. So I just stress to everybody to make sure that you are collaborating with your tech department or your curriculum instruction department, whoever is in charge of exploration of permission, to connect with them to let them know that this is something that you want to use and what you can and can't use for yourself as an educator, and what you can and can't use with students. So according to the UNESCO guidance for generative AI in education and research, if you are using AI with students, there is an age limit of 13. So that means any AI tool that is being used by students has an age limit of 13. That means that they have to be of 13 years of age or older in order to use and interact with the AI tool and sign in where the AI tool could potentially be collecting information on that child. So how do we get around that? We get around that by creating permission forms. So this is a permission form that I created alongside my curriculum and instruction department at the Peel District School Board to get permission to send home for children to get signed by families to say that we will be using AI tools in the classroom and that I will be using AI tools as a teacher in the classroom. And I just wanted to know if parents were able to sign permission to make sure that children were able to have permission to access any AI tools. In all of the years that I've been doing this, I've never had a parent or anybody return the form saying that their child is not allowed to use the AI tool. And this is just your added protection and what my board had suggested I do. Back to guidance for staff on AI. Again, I am part of the Peel District School Board, so we have the PDSB interim guidance on Gen AI for staff. So this is all of the information that we need to know as staff members about how we can use AI, what we can use it for, and what information we're allowed to put in an AI tool that's regarding either students or the curriculum that we have to teach. So if you are part of the Peel District School Board and you haven't heard of this, you can find it online. If you are not part of the Peel District School Board, please double check with whoever your curriculum instruction is, because most school boards at this point have either started creating this or have created this already. And if they haven't created it, then you can be the trailblazer in your school board to help create this guidance for educators on how to use AI safely and responsibly.
Lydia, we have someone who has their hand up. Are you able to?
Yes, I can take a question.
Erica, do you want to go ahead?
I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't put her hand down from when there we go. It may have been from when I asked who has used it. So, okay. As educators, it is our duty to communicate transparently with students and families in our school board, in our school community, about how we are using AI and when we are using AI. We need to make sure that we have an ongoing commitment to understanding how AI works, what the implications of using AI are, what the bias is for using AI, and ensuring that we know that when we are using AI, there could be equity, inclusion, and anti-racist implications to using it. So we need to look at everything through a culturally responsive lens and use our culturally responsive practices to ensure that the information that we are creating with AI tools is factual and representative of the students that we have in front of us. So this is just our duty as educators using AI. So I call my AI tools my thought partners, because I believe that AI is an extension of my brain as opposed to replacing my brain and my thought process. This is something that I do at most of my presentations. It's just a little fact for everybody. So when Instagram first started, it took about 2.5 years for Instagram to get to 100 million users. If you want to post it in the chat, if you have a guess, does anybody have a guess to how long it took ChatGPT to get to 100 million users? Let me open. 5 days. Anybody else? Okay, 2 weeks, 2 days. So yes, it was very quick, but it did take 2 months, approximately 2 months for ChatGPT to get to 100 million users once it was launched. And now it has far surpassed that 100 million user mark. So this is something that is not going away. This is something that we need to embrace. And since the release of ChatGPT, we have so many other generative AI tools like Copilot and Google Gemini that also have hundreds of millions of users using it daily. So which softwares are you currently using? We have Copilot, we have ChatGPT, and we also have Gemini. I just want to gauge if anybody wants to write in the... So TDSB uses Gemini. I know that in my board, in Peel, we use Copilot. Perfect. Okay, so lots of Copilot, lots of Gemini, not so much ChatGPT. But I use ChatGPT at home all the time. But for school purposes, I definitely use Copilot or Gemini. Okay, perfect. I'm going to show you all of them today because when we're using our AI thought partners, what does that mean for us as educators? So it's part of our future, like I said, it's part of our present. It's not going away. So the goal is to understand it, to question it, and to use it with intention, and to be thoughtful and responsible with using it. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that I use my AI thought partners to help me with any type of planning or lesson creation with in my school. Okay. So before I go into that, we have some understanding of how AI works. So AI literacy is very important. If you don't know how AI works or you're not understanding how AI works, it's going to be hard for us to identify when bias comes through or we have some misinformation coming through. And this is something that I teach to students right at the beginning of the year as soon as we start our AI journey. So again, AI learns from data sets, it looks for patterns and it makes predictions. It is not magic, it is trained. Whatever you tell it, it remembers, and then it just continues to remember that. I see somebody has their hand up.
Yes, it looks like we do. Moni, did you want to unmute yourself if you have a question? No, I think we're okay.
That's a mistake, I think.
Okay.
And going with that. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, oopsie. Okay. So how I teach students about how, and educators, because I've done this with staff at my school as well, how I teach them how AI works is for them to first understand what machine learning is. Does anybody know what machine learning is? If you do, you can just write it in the chat. Has anybody done any machine learning with students? You can just, again, type it in the chat if you have. But basically, machine learning is a type of artificial intelligence that allows computers to understand data, instead of directly being programmed. So the more you put into a generative AI tool, the more it learns. So we have our machine learning process. You have your data input. So this is your prompt that you would put into your AI tool. Once you put that prompt in your AI tool, you want to be as specific as possible. It will analyze the data. The data is then, once it's being analyzed, it looks for patterns, it makes predictions. And then once it makes predictions, we're in the tune model phase. So if you have ever used an AI tool like Copilot or ChatGPT or Gemini, sometimes you can give it information and then it responds and you're like, I don't really like that. Can you adjust it by doing this, that, and something else? And that is how AI is trained. So when we are giving our AI thought partner feedback, it's learning from us and keeping that in mind for the next time it's asked a question that's similar. The more, and at the bottom here of my slides, it says the more input, data, or samples machines have, the more accurate their predictions become. So once we understand how the AI is learning from it, what we then have to understand is where that information is coming from or where that information is going. So when we give our AI thought partner information, it puts it into a data set. This data set is a collection of information or collection of data that has been curated online, and that is where the information that ChatGPT or Copilot or any AI tool is pulling from. I like to describe it as a table when I'm talking to educators or teachers, educators or students. I say that think of a data set as a table like this. We have different columns and different rows, and within each column, you have information. So if I were to put into, if this was my data set and I were to put into my chat, I would say, hi, AI, can you tell me anything that you know about Alex? And it will tell me that Alex, it likes apples and that they are 12 years old. If you tell me, if I ask, what is the average age of the students in this classroom? If this table was that, it would tell you based on the information that you have in here. So every column is just a way for students to visualize how the data is being collected and how data is being pulled from a data set. And if you do come to my next session, that's on March 5th, I will be going into how I then use this to teach students how to make their own data sets and create their own AI-powered models. So, as I've been saying, when we are using AI tools, we need to be aware that the tools that we are using do have spread misinformation, and that it does also hallucinate at times. So that is why it's important for us to engage in lateral reading. And all that means is whatever you are using, whatever AI tool you are using to create information or share information, you want to make sure you open various tabs to fact check everything that is being told to you. Sometimes you can ask ChatGPT, hey, give me some resources based on this topic, and it will give you websites. And if you click on the websites, it'll take you to a 404 error found. And that's because that's an AI hallucination where it's made up a resource to kind of answer the question that it doesn't know the answer to. So this is why reading laterally is super important, not only for us as educators, but also for students to understand if they are actively using different AI tools to help them in their learning. So now we're going to jump in to some different AI tools and software that I use. And I'm going to show you how to use them and how to set them up. If you are an educator who is going to eventually be using AI with students, I put this in here because I think it's very important, not only for us to know about the misinformation that AI is spreading, but it's also important for students. So Minecraft Education has come out with this Read Smart AI Detective game that students can play, and it will teach them about various concepts about that they would possibly encounter when they're using AI. If you scan this QR code, it will take you to the Minecraft education website where it has lessons for teachers to supplement the learning that students are doing in Minecraft. So even though you may not know how to play Minecraft or might not want to engage with it, you can also see the learning through a teacher's lens where it provides you with different lessons on how to differentiate things like deep fakes or looking at bias and trustworthy resources. And the kids love it. Okay, so we're going to go first with Copilot, ChatGPT, and Gemini. Did you know that you can personalize your Gen AI thought partner? Did anybody know that you can do that without just telling them? Oh, I see it here. What age group would you say this Minecraft? Okay, I've done the Minecraft with grade 4s, but I've also done it with grade 8. So I am an elementary school teacher. It isn't really, as long as the students are able to access the information and you're not just going in blindly, they have to have some sort of background information on what AI is. I feel like grade 4 to 8 definitely could do it. I know that there are some grade 2 classes that I work with that if I had them do it, I think the students would be successful in using it as well, because every kid knows how to play Minecraft. But if you are using it as a teacher, all of the resources that are on the Minecraft education website are editable, so you can always go in and alter if necessary. It says, will you be sharing some of the info that you referenced, Lydia? Yes, I will share them at the end. Okay, so I'm going to jump out of my slides right now, and we're going to jump into some of our Copilot and ChatGPT and Gemini. So let me just move this to the bottom now. Okay, what's going on here? How do I move this? There we go. So this is ChatGPT, our good old friend ChatGPT. I'm going to start with this one. What you can do, what is that? What you can do when you are, can everybody see my ChatGPT? I just want to make sure before I start talking.
Yes. Yes,
Thumbs up.
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so when you are on ChatGPT, you can personalize your thought partner so that it remembers things about you. Any type of generative AI that you're using like this, anytime you are using a chat, if you say one thing in one chat, it will not remember that if you start a new chat. It will not pull information from chat to chat. So the only way around that is either always talking in the same chat box and having one big dialogue with ChatGPT and never going outside of it, or you can personalize it. So I'm going to show you how you personalize it. When you are on ChatGPT, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go down to the bottom left hand corner, and you will see here it says settings and personalization. So I'm going to go to personalization. When you're on personalization, it will tell you different things. It'll ask you how you want your chat to respond to you, be enthusiastic, all of this stuff. I just have everything set to default. I haven't changed any of that. But then this over here is where it gets exciting. In here, you have custom instructions. So what I have done is I have typed out custom instructions that I want my thought partner to always remember about me when it is creating or answering any questions that I'm asking. So I wrote that I'm an Ontario teacher librarian. I focus on STEAM education. I use the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the First People's Principles of Learning. I try to create pedagogy that is holistic, relational, and experiential, reflective. I talk about generating lessons that are open-ended with multiple entry points, generating contact that connections to Indigenous peoples. Please honor the 5 R's. I wrote anything that I could think about what I value as a teacher when I'm doing any type of planning and all the things that I take into consideration when I am doing any planning. Once I have written that, I copy and paste it and I put it in my personalization. And then you can add information about your occupation and anything else about you that are your interests or anything like that. Then once you have done that, you press save and it will remember that forever. So if I come here and I say, hi chat, I didn't spell hi right, sorry. Hi chat, tell me about myself. Okay. Oh, now we got a 1 there. And then it will think and it will it'll tell me everything it needs to know. You're reflective, intentional, playful side, appreciate your humor. Basically, it's going to gas you up and tell you you're amazing. And it will tell you information that you have written in here. And it will always remember that. So it will always remember every time you ask it anything. Now, you can also do this on Copilot. So this is Copilot. I'm going to hop over here now. And once you are in your Copilot, you're going to press the 3 dots on the top right corner. When you come here, you're going to go to settings. And then you're going to go into personalization. Once you're in personalization, there's different areas that you can add to. If you would like to add your custom description, you're going to go into custom instructions. You're going to click edit. And then this is where you would write any information that you had that you wanted your chat to remember. Once you do that, you can, again, customize it further by telling it what you want, how you want it to respond, and different things. And then once you're done that, you save your instructions and it's going to remember it as well. So I'm going to say, hi, chat. Maybe if I spelled it right. Hi, chat. Tell me about myself as a teacher. And then again, it will generate information about you based on the information that you gave it. So this is everything that it's going to keep in mind when I am asking it to plan with me. So that you don't have to tell it this every single time you're trying to plan something. And then finally, we have Gemini. So Gemini works the same way. If I go back home, I'm going to go back to new chat. Gemini also has this option. It looks a little bit different, but you're going to go to settings and help in the bottom left corner. And then instructions for Gemini. This is where you're going to add your personalization. So you're going to come in here. The cool thing about doing this with Gemini is you can add different resources to your chat in your instruction. So even though I've written this statement, if I want to say I'm a grade 4 teacher, what I can do is I can press add, and I can add the grade 4 curriculum in here as well, so that it always has that in mind, so that when I am doing my planning, I don't always have to copy and paste the curriculum expectations from the curriculum document. You can put it right in here, and you can just say like grade 4 math and put the expectations. You can put grade 4 science and you put the expectations, and you can have multiple instructions for Gemini to keep in mind when you're talking to it. So this varies between platform to platform. You're able to do it with every platform, but Gemini does have this added feature where you can add multiple instructions separately, and it will keep those in mind. So I use all three of these platforms for various reasons. And I'm going to show you how that works now. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
We have a question asking what system is the best?
I don't necessarily think there's one that's better than any of the others. I know that for my school, like if I'm doing anything related to students specifically, I use Copilot because my board has the added protection in Copilot where you can have information within your school board because it's directly connected to our system. If your board uses Gemini, then I feel like that would mirror what my board does. I do use ChatGPT quite a lot for my personal stuff. But there's different reasons why I use different ones. I love Gemini. My school board does not use Google, but I love Gemini because it has so many features, and I like the Google environment or the Google ecosystem. And I'm going to show you some different ways that I use Gemini in planning and different Google related tools that are AI tools. And why I would use those over like some other ones. If I'm going straight chat and not moving outside of the chat, then I would stick with Copilot and ChatGPT. But like I said, Gemini has so many additional features that are super cool that you can use as teachers. I believe.
We have one more. We have a comment in the chat. Will the personalization fall into every chat that you create?
It will. It will. Keep it in mind. As long as you post it in those settings, it will always keep it in mind while you are over there in any chat. And that's why I have it so that automatically when I ask it to generate, it will generate with that in mind.
And someone did post in the chat that it's not customization. In some school boards do have features put in to block that just for a whole host of reasons. So double check.
Yes.
If it's your personal laptop, you may have more access to things than you do your board laptop.
Right. And so when I'm using my Copilot, I'm signed in with my board credentials. Whereas when I'm using Gemini or if I'm using ChatGPT, I'm signed in with my personal credentials because it's separate from what I would do at school. And I'm using it for personal reasons as well. So it does open up some features. In my board, like I said, Gemini we don't use Google. So the features are limited if I sign in with my board email. But if you're signing in with your personal credentials, it does open up all of these features that I'm going to be sharing with you today if you don't have access through your board. One more thing before we move on to from personalization is if you are someone who uses Canva, you can also do this on Canva, but the way that you do it on Canva is in your home, you're going to switch to Canva AI, and then all you're going to do is start a new chat and then name your chat My Personalization. Because the way Canva works when you are using it is it creates AI personalization. It creates memories. So it works a little bit differently. This is one of the only ones that I've experienced where it remembers from chat to chat conversations that you've had with it. So it does create memories based on what you have shared with it. So all you would do with Canva AI is go to Canva AI and then set up, just start a chat. Say, remember this. This is what I wrote. I'm an Ontario teacher. Please remember it. And then I just gave it some more information. When you're creating lessons, make sure you keep this in mind. Do you need me to share some resources you can refer to? So I shared the UN SDGs, the FPPLs, and some other information so that it has that on file, I guess, when you're using Canva AI, if you are someone who uses Canva AI. Okay, now back over here. So I'm going to put you back up here. So I'm going to go into using Canva to show you how you can create a lesson using Canva Magic Write. So this is a tool where you can create outlines for different units that you'll be teaching based on various curriculum expectations. So the first thing you are going to do is you're going to go to Canva. I'm going to come back to the top here. I'm going to go to home. So when you're in your home on Canva, what you're going to do is you're going to create a doc. You're going to create a new doc. And it's just going to open and it's going to look like a Google Doc or a Word doc or whatever it is that you're writing. The way that I set up my page for this presentation is I went in and I said, okay, I'm going to be doing something about simple machines, planning with Canva. And I set up my simple machines by saying, these are our overall expectations. These are the specific expectations, because I wanted to keep this in mind when I'm generating. So I'm going to show you this one here. So on here, we have our simple machines. I'm going to come back to the home and I'm going to open I started one for habitats and communities for grade 4. So the way that this works is I added in my curriculum expectations and then I've come down here. Once you are on your next line, you can press this plus button and it's going to come up and it's going to say Magic Write. When you open this, it's going to open your AI tool right in the doc. And here's where you're going to give the AI tool instructions on what you want it to do. So I've already pre-written all of this. So I am just going to copy this. So I just said, create a unit, a design for grade 4s to explore the concepts of habitats and communities, all of that. And then once I am in here, I'm going to paste it here, paste. And I am going to press enter. And then it's going to start generating. So as you can see, it's keeping all of that in mind, making sure it has hands-on connections, possible activities for interactive presentations, connections to the UN SDGs, and also connections to the First Peoples Principles of Learning, because these are all things that I value when I'm creating lessons. This is editable, so you can go in and you can edit it. If you don't like what it says, you can say this, but, and then you can add more information about how you would like to change it if it doesn't format it however you want, or you can say more like this and it will add to it. Then you press insert and it's going to insert all of that right underneath for you, and you have an outline of a unit that you could potentially create. Now, it gives me activities, so being discussed about what humans already know about habitats, watch a short video. It's not going to give you the resources. You're going to have to go in and put those resources yourself, but it gives you an outline of some ideas of how you could share this with students. I'm going to come back to here for simple machines, because I also did this for grade 2s. And right here, it says create an interactive presentation introducing the 6 simple machines, and then it lists all of them using interactive media. So what I did was you can highlight this and you can ask Canva. So I gave it this prompt and I said, I highlighted this topic and I said, hey, can you turn this into an image? And then it created various images about different simple machines that I could potentially use with students. And then I said, can you make an interactive presentation for me? And then it will create slides based on the information that you give it. But I then just inserted the image that I liked best that I could have here for planning purposes if I'm deciding to make slides or share with students this image for them to explore and have discussions about. Any questions? Can you have different customizations for different chats? You can't have different customizations for different chats, but you can specifically tell your AI tool what you want to be different. Again, I would just say if it's something super specific, do it within the chat. If it's a general thing that you want your AI thought partner to remember always, then you would put that in your personalizations. Okay. So there is how you would use Canva Magic Write to create an outline for a learning opportunity for students. Also, Canva Education is free. So if you're not using Canva, you can access it for free through your board credentials. It is free for all students and all educators. You get premium capabilities through it as long as you have logged in with your board credentials, which is amazing. And Canva also works alongside the UN Sustainable Development Goals to create quality education for everyone. So when you are using Canva, you're also helping promote the UN Sustainable Development Goals and making better strides towards making our world a better place. Okay, now we're going to go into Notebook LM. So Notebook LM is a website and a tool that you can use through Google. It is similar to chat or like a Gemini chat where it's going to ask you questions. But what it does is it summarizes information. So I'm going to swipe over here. We're going to go to Notebook LM. So for Notebook LM, when you first come in to Notebook LM, it's going to look like this. You can create a new chat. And when you go into your new chat, it's going to ask you for the resources you're wanting to summarize or you're wanting to work with. So what I did was, because I'm talking about the UN SDGs, I went in and I gave it this resource here, which is the UN SDGs goals report for 2025. So this is all of the information based on different achievements that we are making towards the different sustainable development goals. And what I did was I put it into Notebook LM and I said, asked it if it could summarize. I said, can you focus only on SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities on page 32 to 33 from this PDF? And then it outlined everything that was happening in those 2 pages. And then on the side here, you have various options. So you can turn this into a podcast. So this is great for students. If you're wanting them to listen to information, it will turn it into a 1-person or a 2-person podcast, and it sounds like real people. And you can also create slide decks. You can create video overviews, mind maps, lots of different things. The one that I love to use, which is a newer feature, is the infographics. Now you can create images, generative AI images through different AI tools like Copilot and Gemini, but I find that the spelling is always wrong. The information is not always accurate. I have done this a few times with Notebook LM, and I have found that the infographics that it generates are accurate to the information that it's taking from. So this is a infographic that it created about the SDG 25 report, and it talked about various things. So the reality of the progress gap, a bunch of different information, and it is accurate to what is said in the PDF because I went back and I read it just to make sure. But then this can be saved, downloaded, and shared with students. So I always say, I was asked a question at a conference that I was presenting at last week about how if students are using this or if we're using this with students, does it not take away their creativity because we're not having them create the infographic? Now, to that, I say it all depends on what the purpose of the learning is. If we're just trying to get information out to students and we want them to be able to access the information and have multiple entries to learning, then this is a great way for you to differentiate for students because infographics are significantly easier to understand and read than a 52-page document, especially with some of our younger students. But if the intention of the learning is for them to be creative and create a infographic for themselves, then obviously we're not going to be using this tool. This tool is strictly for presenting information in a way that is meaningful for students. It's also created a video. I've also created a video. I'm not going to play the video, but it does have a video here it's created based on the document that I've shared with it. So a great way for you to differentiate some learning with students. Is there anybody? I see some numbers. Okay. Next. Okay, now we're going to jump into Gemini. So we have Storybook, which is going to be here. So Gemini has these things called gems. I'm not sure if you're aware of what a gem is, but Gemini has things called gems. And the way that it works is on the left side of your screen, you'll see where it says gems here. And these are pre-made and pre-sorted templates that you can use to create things for students. So the one that I'm going to focus on here is called Storybook, and it's to create customized picture books for any child, any grade, at any style that you would like. So this is one that I've created. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to show you how I did this. You're going to go to Gems. You're going to come down and you're going to go to Experiments and you're going to click on Storybook. It's going to give you some prompts that you could use. But what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to type exactly what you want it to do. So if I come over here to Storybook, I wrote, using a manga anime art style, create a storybook about the Ontario grade 2 curriculum for structures and mechanisms. And I gave it the expectations that I wanted it to know, to have. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it here. Oopsie. 1 second. Gems. Come on. New gem. Storybook. Come on. Oopsie. And paste. Paste. And enter. Once it loads, I've already done this before. I'm going to click over here so that you can see it. Once it loads, you will see this is what I fed it. It will say, I've created a manga style book for 7 to 8 year olds that follows a person named Koji while he discovers simple machines, such as pulleys, levers, and all of that. Now this is what you would be able to share with students. The cool thing about it is that it will read to you. So it will, so it does read to you. You can then share this as a PDF. You can download it as a PDF and share with students, or you can share this direct link out to students so they can access the book that you've created for them to read. Now, as a teacher librarian, I always have teachers coming in asking me for a book about this and a book about that. And I don't always have them because my nonfiction section is very small. So this is a tool that I've introduced to the staff members at my school because we can make personalized books based on whatever style you want, on any content that you want. As long as you are giving your AI tool the necessary information, it will create a very short, easy to read book for students that can also be read to them. And it has pictures and it's great. I've used this with some students at my school and they love it because they'll be like, Miss, can you make me a book like in Pokemon style? Or can you make me a book in like Bubble Guppy style or whatever? And then it will create that based on your description of how you ask it to create your book. Questions? So there are so many other gems that you can also use. So I'm going to come back here. There is a gems choice board. And on here, everything is linked. So when you see my presentation, when I post it, it will take you to this choice board. So if we click on it, it's going to open it and it's going to take you right to the choice board, create your own choice board option where you can give information to it and it'll create a choice board for you. The other one that I've also linked on here, which is one that I've used, is using a jigsaw. So creating jigsaw activities for students based on different information. And those are both linked, but they work the exact same way as I showed you the storybook one works. So you put the curriculum expectations in and it will create these things for you. I'm going to skip. And then we also have this one called Diffit. Diffit is a tool that you can use to differentiate different learning for students. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to Diffit. So you can create new. Again, this is a free, all of these are free. I just want to stress that so many times. Every single thing that I'm showing you is 100% free. There are paid versions of it, but you don't need to pay for them because I only use the free options and I do so much with them. So Diffit is a tool that you can use as a teacher to differentiate different resources for students in your class. So how it works is you would create instructional material for students. It gives you prompts of what you would want it to do. But what you would do in here is I'm going to go to Diffit and I'm going to write. I've been doing some stuff with a grade 2 teacher on the simple machines. If you haven't noticed, a lot of my stuff is on simple machines for this. So when you come in here, you're going to put your prompt and then you can add resources if you want to upload specific files, or you can add your standards. I would, if you're connecting to Ontario curriculum, I would just upload the curriculum document or the expectations, and then it would differentiate for you. So then it will think, it'll ask you some questions along the way. So it'll say, can you please provide specific text for the document? It will ask you, do you have ELL students in your class? Are we differentiating for various different reasons? It's going to ask you a bunch of questions and prompts. So if I skip that one, it will say making engaged, making connections, and it's going to create something. I'm going to actually just go back and I'm going to show you one that it has already created for me. So I asked it to make word wall cards for simple machines, and it will tell me what it is. There's a picture. You can change the pictures. It gives you a definition of what it is. And then we have all of our simple machines. So these can be used in slideshow presentations. And then it also follows it up with some learning activities. So it will create a worksheet or a learning opportunity that you can use with students. And all of this is editable. So I can go in and I can edit this if I don't like what it says. And then we also have our Diffit chat on the side. So if you want to ask it to make something else or create another resource, it will do that as well. So this is great if you have resources that maybe not all students in your class can access. You can upload that resource on here, and then you can have it differentiate the different texts for the students that you have in your class that might be reading at different levels or accessing learning at different rates. And then another one, we're going to come back over here. So that's Diffit. And then the last one that I have for lesson creation is Chalky. Chalky is very similar to Diffit, but I find that it actually creates way more than Diffit does. It does differentiate, but this is going to also help you create full units, including activities, creating different lessons, different slideshows, and everything is editable and customizable within the Chalky app, which is also free. You can upgrade to Pro, but you don't have to because everything that I'm going to show you is free. So this is Chalky. And the way that it works is you have your home, so you can create a single lesson, a lesson series, or you can create activity sheets. So what I did was I created a lesson series. And if I come in, let me just refresh my page. It looks like it's not, there we go. So again, back to simple machines. I created a lesson series. And in the lesson series, I gave it all the information that I wanted to. I said I wanted it to make, I'm going to show you how it works. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to lesson series. Oopsie, cancel. Activity sheets. So in here, we have our lessons that it's created. We have 3 lessons it created. So we have movement and position, simple machines, and then simple machines all around us. So when it created these, I gave it the information that I wanted to give it. I told it, here's my prompt. I can see it. So this is the prompt that I gave it. I said it's grade 2, number of lessons. You can have more lessons or less lessons, how many slides per lesson. And then here's my instructions that I wanted it, the expectations I wanted it to connect to. And then you can press next. I checked off what I wanted it to do. So I wanted to have learning objectives, key vocabulary, and then a previous lesson recap if there was one. And then it will generate an outline. So with the one that I've created here, you can see it has different, these are all customizable, so you can edit everything here. And then if we go back, we have our simple machines lesson here that it's created. And it's just talking about all of the different simple machines. And then our final one, which is machines all around us. Then from here, you can actually create activity sheets. So I made 2 different ones. I made one that is movement and position, which is a sheet that has how do things move. And the students have to match the pictures to the correct word. Again, this is grade 2. Everything is editable. It has a word list, and it also gives you the answer key. And you can, again, edit all of that. And then the other lesson that I created here was ready, set, move. So there's fill in the blanks, there's paths of motion, and then some, where is it? Some, what's it called? Multiple choice questions. And always with a learning objective at the beginning, explaining what the students have to do. And again, all of this is customizable and editable, so you can change anything that you don't like, or you can add to it as well. When you click add blocks here on the side, it will just ask you like, oh, I want to do vocabulary practice. I want to gap fills. I want to have quick question. Maybe I want to have a closed text, a closed reading based on simple machines. So you can add all of these things, an open-ended task, to your activities that you would be sharing with students. Then you can print them or share them digitally on Google Classroom or whatever VLE you use. And that is Chalky. Okay. I know we only have a few minutes left. So again, I just wanted to say you're going to be able to access all of this. I'm going to actually post a link to my slides now in the chat. I'm going to come back over here. Copy. I'm going to post this on Google Classroom. Sorry, I'm going to post this on my website as well. Just want to make sure. Where's the chat? Past. I'm going to make it go to everyone. Is there a way? Meeting in this group.
Chat?
Yes. Okay. Did everybody get it? Yes, I think so. So there's
is Chalky available? Is Chalky approved in Peel?
Chalky is No. So the way that it works is that you are not allowed to put in any student information. But if you're using it as a tool to generate activities or generate ideas, it hasn't been specifically approved by the Peel District School Board as a tool to use, but it is just like any AI tool. If you're using Diffit or if you're using reading progress, there's also a generative AI tool called Project Read, where you can generate passages that are directly connected to UFly. So it works in the same way as all of those tools do. So it's just another way for us as teachers to generate information or learning resources for students. But students wouldn't be directly logging in to this. It was just a tool that we can use to create information and learning for kids. I'm actually going to show you there's one more. Actually, I'm gonna go here for a second. AI. This is the one resource. It's called Project Read AI. This is another one. So if you are an elementary student, school teacher, and you're teaching anything from kindergarten all the way up to grade, what is it, 2, that uses, and your school is using UFly at any grade level, you can use this where it will generate decodable text for you based on different lessons. So if you are using UFly and you're doing lesson 70 with your class, you can generate a story, and then you can actually tell it, you can add pictures to it. The paid version you can add pictures into. What I usually do, or like what I've told staff to do, is you just copy and paste this onto a slide and you can add your own pictures and your own images into it, if it is something that you want to have for students. But it does generate a decodable text for you for free, because I know decodable texts are very expensive, and not all staff and all school boards have or schools have access to physical decodables. So it's another way for you to create decodables that are directly related to UFly. Does
Can
anybody?
Yeah.
Can UFly be used, adjusted for age group?
So UFly, so at my school, we are using UFly for many different reasons. I know that our K-3 classes are all using it to teach our strand B of the language curriculum. And that's what it's rooted in. So for foundations of literacy. But it's also being used by our English language, with our English language learners, with our ESL teachers, for any of our newcomers that are coming into our building. So even if students are a little bit older and are not at that kindergarten to grade 3 age range where UFly would be used more frequently, it is still being used with older students, just in different situations depending on what the student needs. Um, so yeah. Again, I am going to be presenting next week. I think it's next week, on March 5th on a Thursday. And I'm going to be talking about empowering student voice through the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm going to go way more into the ethical considerations of AI and how I approach that with students in the classroom. Today's lesson, or today's learning, was more so how you can use AI tools to help supplement what you already have in your teacher toolkit. And now we're just adding our AI thought partners into the mix to make what we already have better and more relevant to what's going on in the world today. So I'm hopefully thinking that you all have taken at least one thing away from today's presentation. And if you would like to see more about what this looks like with students and how students are using it to make a difference in the world, please, please, please join us again for my next chat. And again, there's all of my info.
Lydia, thank you so much. There was so much information and so many websites that I think, as teachers and educators, we can sort of go and visit and see what we, sort of play with them in the time that we have. I do encourage all teachers that are online right now to make sure that you do check with your board policies. Again,
Yes.
all board policies are different. And all of the 3 unions, I put up the OSSTF, OECTA, and EDFO policies. And they're updating them on a pretty regular basis. So please make sure that you are here, adhering to those policies as well. Lydia, thank you
Somebody
again so much.
Somebody asked for this, so I'm just putting it in the chat for you. That's the list of webinars for the OTF. So this was today's Train Your Brain. And if you want to see my next one, it's right here. It's Empowering Student Voice through the UN Sustainable Development Goals and AI. So you can register for that one if you would like. I'm also going to be posting these slides on a blog post on my website. So if for whatever reason it's not working for you from the link that I shared, I will be posting it as soon as I sign off of this. I will be posting it on my website for you to access, which is, I'm just going to type it in the chat, www.theartofinquiry.ca.
So we're not
There you
seeing
go.
it in the chat. We're not seeing it in the chat, Lydia.
You're not. Am I just sending it to you? It says meeting group chat. I'm sending it to meeting group chat. Oh, I just sent it to one person. 1 second. Copy, and paste. So there's my website.
There we go. Wonderful.
I'm going to copy link, paste. That's the link for my next one. And then I'm also going to put the link for my slides one more time, just in case. I don't know why somebody got a special little private message from me with my links of everything. And there's the link for my slides for everybody to
I have
access.
a question.
Yes, of course.
Will all this disappear? All these links, will they disappear as soon as you close this
Yes, yes.
this meeting?
So Sandra, what I'm going to suggest is that you click on the link so they do pop up on your screen so then you can save them or you can copy and paste them.
Okay, will I have enough time to do that?
I'm going to give you enough time.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I just posted on my website, I just made it live. So if you go to theartofinquiry.ca and go on to blog, you will see Train Your AI Brain. It says OTF Connects. It's on my website. I'll send the direct link for it as well. And my slides are also linked on there for you to access. I'm going to do one more there.
Okay,
Here we
perfect.
go. Perfect.
Wonderful. So
And
Lydia, on behalf of everyone here, thank you for the wealth of knowledge and the information you've shared and all the links and resources. I think it gives us all with plenty to sort of play with and sort of get to know and be more comfortable with. So thank you for sharing your expertise, and I look forward to working with you next week. Thanks everyone for coming
amazing.
out. Take good care. Bye.
Thank you.